age, we are always growing and changing in every aspect of human development. These changes make us unique, and as we continue to learn and grow, there are seemingly fewer and fewer opportunities to share those unique experiences that may be of value to others. If you've ever wanted tools to help you either share your talents or learn from the talents of others, keep watching today's show. Welcome to Woman2Woman Today. We're here having intimate conversations with local women that will inspire us. I'm your host, Jen Maceda, and on today's show, we'll be speaking with Andrea Weaver. She's the founder and executive director of Bridges Together, a local nonprofit that's dedicated to uniting children and young people with older adults through award-winning educational and community programs. Thanks for being with us, Andrea.
Thanks for having me today.
So tell us a bit about Bridges Together and exactly what population you're trying to connect.
Okay. So Bridges Together is a nonprofit dedicated to professional development in the field of intergenerational programming, which means bringing together older adults, usually 60 and older, but sometimes as young as 50 and older, and youth, usually high school and younger, but sometimes college, and people who are launching their careers. There's a wide variety of intergenerational programs, but there are ways to enhance and to have more significant and more memorable experiences, and so we teach that methodology.
It's so necessary. I mean, we were talking a little bit before, bringing that history to the forefront of everyone's mind and not losing it.
Right.
So how did this come about? How did you start this nonprofit? Because it's brilliant and it's so impactful, and we're going to talk about that as well.
Thank you. I grew up in a multi-generational family. I lived across the street from my maternal grandparents. I spent summers in Italy with my paternal grandparents, and not only my grandparents, but all of their siblings and their spouses too. And I just soaked up all of that attention, all of the culture, all of the knowledge and the expertise that they shared. And I know I brought life to them also. And when I was in college and studying gerontology and sociology, gerontology is the study of aging, I learned about intergenerational programs. And I had always loved children, and it really just combined my true loves, older adults and youth. And that launched my career. So I started in 1991 in intergenerational programming. So that's when I first piloted what's now known as the Bridges program. And in the 1990s, I worked throughout Massachusetts doing intergenerational programming. I also got my master's in intergenerational studies, which I'm one of only a handful in the country with that master's degree. And that really gave me the theory and the foundation on which to build and integrate my own life experiences. In 2012, volunteers in Bridges and parents whose families had been impacted by the program asked me to start spreading Bridges. And several women said they wanted to work for me to spread the program. And so I decided that that God was trying to give me a message through all those women.
Right. And
decided I looked into options and founded Bridges Together then. So we're celebrating our 5th anniversary of the nonprofit and 25 years of the Bridges program.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell us a bit about the programs that are associated with it, because there are workshops, there are classes, and how many volunteers do you have? Because the 2 women that are working for you now were volunteers and were just so emotionally impacted and just saw the value of it. They said, "Listen, Andrea, you gotta get going with this program and make this so that everyone can participate in it."
So we have a 2-pronged approach to our work. When people come to us, they say one of 2 things. The first thing is, I want a packaged program. Tell me what to do. I don't want to think about it. I don't have time. I just want something that works. And so we train them on the Bridges program curricula suite. We call it a program because for senior centers, senior housing, after school programs, churches, they'll know it as a program. But in the schools, they would know it as a curricula. And that's part of what we're always doing, is bridging those 2 worlds and languages.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about how Andrea and Bridges Together selects the schools and also selects the volunteers that they know are going to be successful within the program. Stay with us. Welcome back to Woman2Woman Today. I'm your host, Jen Maceda, and we are talking with Andrea Weaver. Andrea, you were telling us a bit about some of the workshops and the difference between a package that you create for somebody and a package that's already been created.
Right. So a package is our Bridges program curricula suite, and in all of our Bridges programs, a group of about 8 active older adults over the age of 60 or so go in and volunteer in a classroom. We have programs from preschool up through high school. And every time that they get together, there's a different theme to their lesson. The teacher does a mini lesson that's 5 or 10 minutes. There are discussion questions that the people, all of the participants do in preparation. So there are life reflection questions on the theme, and there's questions for them to ask someone in a different generation. Okay. So it strengthened those connections at home as well.
So how do volunteers get in touch with you to say, I'm part of this generation and I want to be able to give back to a younger generation?
So what we do is train local community leaders, teachers and senior center staff and senior housing in different communities to implement the Bridges programs locally. And so people can look on our website and find out what communities Bridges is running in. If they want to start a Bridges program in their community, they can contact our office and we will help them get started. We actually have funding right now from Tufts Health Plan Foundation and from the Massachusetts Association of Councils on Aging to fund the programs in different communities.
That's fantastic.
So it is fantastic.
And how do you select the school systems?
It's usually when they come to us.
Okay.
And when they come to us and we help them find a partner organization, or a senior center will say, I want to do it, and then we help them find the school.
Okay.
But we're kind of a matchmaker
yes.
that way. So once those two parties are in place, we do a full day training for them.
Okay.
And we give them the curricula, we go through all the nuts and bolts. We help them develop a team spirit between the two organizations. A lot of times they've never collaborated before. Okay. So.
We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, Andrea is going to walk us through some of the tools that make these intergenerational connections we've been talking about so successful. So keep watching, everybody. Welcome back to Woman2Woman Today. I'm your host, Jen Maceda. We're here with Andrea Weaver from Bridges Together. So thank you, Andrea, for being with us. We are going to be talking about some of the tools that folks can use within their homes, within schools, and within different customizable programs and projects. So tell us a little bit about those customizable programs, if you would.
Okay. So sometimes when people come to us, they say, I have an idea. I want to do an intergenerational jazz program. I want to do an oral history program. I want to do a garden program. How do I do it? And we help walk them through that process. So we have lots of handouts on our website to help. We also do custom training and workshops for them in their communities to help them bring it to fruition.
Yes, and your website is chock full of information, so please, everybody go and check that one out, because it's really important that you find out about Bridges Together, but that you also get some of the tools that you have on the website, but then you can also order some great tools. So I have some cards that I want to show you, and these are conversation cards that Bridges Together and Andrea has put together. And let me just read a couple of these, because they are such conversation starters, but also the length of time that you could spend on one of these questions is really fantastic. And as you mentioned to me earlier, these are cards for older adults to be engaging with younger adults, and I'll tell you why. Here's one of the first questions. When was the first time you used a television, microwave, computer, or cell phone? Which is such a fantastic entry question, because they're going to either never have used a cell phone, when they were younger, and then only used it, as they became older adults. Right. And that's all kids know, so they'll find that very interesting. Yeah. So these questions are great. Tell me, yeah, please.
We call them our grand conversation cards because we hope that they will stimulate conversations between grandparents and grandchildren, but they're great in the workplace. They're wonderful for creating meaningful conversations.
Yes.
Grand conversations.
Grand conversations. I love that.
So
you brought a couple of posters with you to give us an idea of the logical flow, essentially, of what's possible between these intergenerational programs.
Right. So
what are we looking at here?
Intergenerational programs is an umbrella for any programs that bring together older adults and children. But just to give you an example, we teach the multiple intelligences, or SMARTS theory. That's a different ways of looking at what our talents are and how we can use them in the world. And so it's a way to understand each other, but it's a way to understand intergenerational programs too. So Word Smart might be a reading program where on the Cape, there's a Project Read where older adults and middle school school kids read the same book, and then they discuss it.
Okay.
Music Smart, there's an intergenerational chorus that runs throughout the year.
Okay.
And there's all different types of programs, intergenerational dance. Girl Power down on the Cape again. Yeah.
See, that's why people need to go to your website, because it really gives you an idea of what is possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
I'm doing like a commercial for you, but
thank you. We love it.
Yes. No.
So we also teach about cultural continuity,
Okay.
and that I think is one of the most important parts of intergenerational programming. Is how do we take our culture and help another generation understand it? And traditionally, we think about older adults as being the culture keepers, but in today's world, for young people to be able to, for an immigrant to be able to say, this is my culture and I'm proud of it. So awesome.
Yeah. So give us an example of that.
So if we think about Thanksgiving,
Yes.
it's such an American holiday, but we can talk about what's the values of sharing, of community, of America, just being proud to be an American, of celebrating our immigration stories. What's the knowledge that goes with it? How do we cook a turkey? How do we get a whole meal out at the same time? Some of the language, like football, that's associated with Thanksgiving, or cornucopia. What are the techniques for carving the turkey? What's the skill for making the stuffing and the pie crust? There's a little technique, and it just goes on. It's a connection to a greater community. How many of us look for someone who doesn't have any place to go for Thanksgiving and invites them in, or the sense of giving back and sharing our bounty with others who are less fortunate financially.
Yeah. So again, these are conversation starters. It's a lot. It sounds like it's a lot about conversations and sharing of the talents that you've built throughout your life, and giving that back to somebody who cares enough to be able to hear it and embody it in some way, and to take it in and make that part of who they are now.
It's very true.
Yeah.
And we can do it in our homes. We can do it. You were talking, in fact, about using the grand conversation cards with your parents who live out of state. And it's great to do on Skype, on phones, on FaceTime.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, I'm going to get a packet of those, definitely. Give one to my parents and one to the kids, because it's tough to have that intergenerational conversation. If you're not used to it, it takes practice. Just like any relationship, any conversation, it takes practice. And being able to tap into something that is meaningful for you makes it a lot easier to be able to talk about it and share it. And
that's right.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Well, thank you for being with us. Thank you for
so
inspiring
much.
us.
Thank you.
Thanks for connecting with us. And we are so thrilled to have learned about some of these meaningful ways to connect and learn and grow through these intergenerational connections and relationships. So please remember to follow and like and subscribe to Woman2Woman Today on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, so you don't miss a show. Thanks to the entire team at Access Framingham, especially Shavarsh Morrissey and Francesca Cerruti Harris. Thanks also to Jess Friswell, our assistant producer. I'm your host, Jen Maceda. For Woman2Woman Today, thank you for watching, everyone, and see you next time, where we hope to inspire you.